Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Also, if you see me squinting and or struggling, it's because I can't find my contacts and I can't wear my glasses because the sun beams directly into my eyes. Anywho, as the title tells, I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. What is it called? Mid-year book freakout tag. I literally have my laptop open with all the questions on here, so if you see me looking this way, that's what that's for, because I don't have the memory to remembering all that's happening. But I'm pretty excited. This is the first time I'm ever doing this, so this should be interesting to say the least. But anyhow, let's stop talking. Let's just get started with the books, which is why you're here. All right, so the first prompt is best book you've read so far in 2020. I went ahead and picked out three books. I can't count. I picked out 3 books because I couldn't choose. But yes, one of them was the Da Vinci Code, which is so weird because so many people say this book is trash. It's a little strange, but I kind of liked it, and then I thought about it for the longest time after finishing reading this. Also, it caused me to look up more things, like the things that were mentioned in this book I end up looking up afterwards, and so to me that makes just an amazing book when I can't stop thinking about it. So this is definitely up there. I love this. The next book was The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. I absolutely love this book. I didn't think I was going to, but I did, and it was just so beautiful. I got a little choked up or whatever, and it was just so amazing. If you've never read The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, you have to read this book because literally it's amazing. It will change your life. Maybe, I don't really know, but it warms my heart. Then the next book is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Oh my gosh. By the way, both of these books my mom recommended me, and it took me the longest time to actually read them because I didn't trust her opinions, but now I trust her wholeheartedly in any book she tells me to read. This book was so amazing. I loved it. There were so many themes, symbolisms that are found within this book. Like, it's just so amazing, you guys. I love this book. It made me cry. This is definitely a book that if you get it, I think you'll cry, and if you don't get it, then you probably will hate this book. It's just, I think this book is like a hit or miss, but for me, it hit hard. And I just loved it so much. I just cried so hard with this book, and I think about this book very often now. Okay, and now the next prompt was best sequel you've read so far in 2020. I'm gonna do 2 because I couldn't really choose which one I preferred because they're very different books, so like, I don't know, you couldn't even compare which one was better. But the first one is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is the sequel to Carry On, and let me tell you what, this took me so long to actually read this book because even though I loved Carry On, I was just so concerned about this book because I don't typically like sequels, but I loved this book so much. The cutest thing ever, very exciting, just an amazing book. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5-star. And then I got The Secrets of the Heart, Meditations of Kahlil Gibran. This is the sequel to The Prophet, and oh my, I didn't like it as much as I liked The Prophet because The Prophet is just amazing. It's just such a good book. But this book was so good too. I really enjoyed it. She's a little book, but quite a punch. Just so nice. It's the type of book that gets you thinking, but it's also just so beautiful. I just could not stop thinking about this for at least a month. It wasn't my favorite book of the year, but definitely enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So yeah, definitely recommend those. All right, and so for prompts 3 and 4, I'm not gonna even answer those because honestly, I don't keep up with new releases, and so the third prompt is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. I don't know because I really just don't pay attention to new releases because I'm trash. Okay, I'm trash. I'm sure other people relate to this, but I don't know. And then the fourth one was most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Again, I don't know, but yeah. So I'm skipping those questions because I'm not really excited about anything because I pretty much just find a book and pick it up and read it, and that's all that I do. Okay, now we're to a prompt that I can actually answer, which is biggest disappointment so far. It's gonna have to be The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I just thought this book was going to be different than it was. I don't think it's a necessarily bad book. It's just different than I thought. And I think it's because sometimes with classics, people talk about them so much that it feels so hyped up, and then you read it and it's just not as good. Also, a lot of pop culture references come from this book, or they talk about this book within the pop culture, but to me it just, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I thought it was fine. I thought the writing was just kind of boring. I don't know, I think this might be something I have to reread again to maybe appreciate it more, because my standards are lowered, and now that my standards are lowered, I'll probably be able to enjoy this book far more than I did, but I just didn't like it that much. Oh well. Okay, so our next prompt is biggest surprise, and I'm gonna repeat this book again, Rainbow Rowell's Wayward Son. This was a big surprise to me. I was really prepared to hate this book because, again, sequels are oftentimes trash. Like, I hate sequels. I think that's why I never can finish series, is because sequels just suck. Like, if you've ever read the Twilight series or saga or whatever, I hate it. I hated it just because New Moon was the worst thing I ever read in my life. I just did not like it. Which I'm gonna try to reread New Moon, by the way, to see if I like it better as an adult, but who knows. But Wayward Son, I love this book. I cannot stop saying it enough. It was such a good sequel. I didn't like it as much as Carry On, but it was pretty close to as good as Carry On. You know, the first book is always the best compared to like the sequel. It's always the better of the two, but definitely enjoyed this. If you haven't read this yet, go ahead and just read it because it's good. Okay, so the next prompt is favorite new author, debut, or new to you. It's gonna be an author that's been around for a while, but is new to me, which is gonna have to be Amy Tan. I already mentioned that The Joy Luck Club was one of my favorite books of the year. I also read Amy Tan's Where the Past Begins, which is a writer's memoir, which easily could also have been on my list for my favorite book, one of my favorite books of the year, but I didn't want to have a repeat of authors in that section. But oh my goodness, Amy Tan's writing is so beautiful. She writes so like poetically, but not in a way that annoys me, because sometimes when things are so like whimsical, I can't read it because I'm like, this is just, I can't enjoy the story because it's just too much going on. She does not have a problem with getting to the point as well as being whimsical, and I just love her writing so much. Like, I literally just ordered 2 more Amy Tan books on Thrift Books, and I just got them in like literally 2 days ago. I just love her writing so much. If you have not read her writing, go ahead and just read one of her books, because literally so good. I can only speak for these 2 books, but honestly, I'm pretty sure all her other writing is probably great too, because if you can make a memoir interesting to me, then you're probably a good writer. Like, that's just what it is. I just love her writing so much. Okay, it's time to move on. Okay, now we're on the prompt that was newest fictional crush. This is from a book that I just finished reading for the second time, and I don't really love this book, but I love this character, and it's gonna have to be Alice from Twilight. I don't think this is an unpopular or uncommon opinion. Alice from Twilight is just, she's so great. She's just all over the place. She's very nice, very interesting. Her backstory, interesting. And I just, after reading this book again, I was like, oh my gosh, the star of this book is obviously Alice. And I've been talking about her for the past 2 days. Like, I haven't really mentioned much about this book because this book is like, it's fine. Like, I don't actually hate this book. I know a lot of people hate this book. I don't really hate it. I think it's like a good type of trash. Like, you know when you're like trash for something? I'm kind of trash for Twilight. And so, yes, trash for Twilight. I'm especially in love with Alice. I think she's so great. I think Stephenie Meyer should just go ahead and write a book about Alice's backstory or her future or just anything about Alice, because she's just amazing and I want to hear more from her, because chef's kiss, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's gonna have to be my new favorite fictional crush, guys. Oh, I love her. I'm gonna just mention also Wayward Son one more time. Penny in this book, she's also a queen, so if I had a crush on someone, it'd also probably be Penny, because she's just, you know, super smart, super funny, kind of rude, kind of too much, but like, I love that about her. I don't know, I just thought I'd mention her, you know? Okay, and then my newest favorite character is gonna have to be Dorian Gray from The Picture of Dorian Gray, because I finally read this book, and let me tell you what, sis, amazing. Like, he's just everything to me. I don't know why. I think this book is just, you know, because he's going through a lot. He's facing just like normal people's, I mean, like besides like his soul being stuck in like a photo, like he's like faces normal people's things, like the fear of aging, you know, just a lot of vanity is involved in here, a lot of sinning happens in here. I'm like, I'm all about this. Like, I literally just love Dorian Gray. He's just that one. So he's definitely my new favorite fictional character for sure. Chef's kiss. Okay, and now for the book that made me cry. We're just gonna have to mention Their Eyes Were Watching God again. Zora Neale Hurston made me cry so bad in this book. Again, this is a book that if you don't get it, you'll probably just be like, this was kind of like garbage. But because it like touched me so much, I was like, I'm crying. And I didn't even cry right when I finished the book. I had to go out, talk to my mom about this book, and then I started bawling in the living room because I was like, all of this just happened. Like, there's just so much that happens in this book that you don't even really realize it's happening as you're reading it. And then when you're done, it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is her life. And this just is super great. I loved it. I just loved everything about this book. I think I'm gonna have to do like a whole review dedicated purely to this book. All right, so the next one is a book that made you happy. This book is gonna be If I Stay by Gayle Forman. How do you say that? Gayle Forman? I don't know. This book is like not a super happy book, but it makes me happy because she could have went. Okay, spoiler, she could have went, but she didn't. Like, she chose to stay. And I just think that's nice, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just thought that was such a nice little touch. Like, this is the second time I read this book, and every time I just think it's so amazing that she chose to be here instead of leaving, and I'm like, that's just beautiful. So this book just made me so happy. This book probably could also be put in the category for made me cry, but this book mostly just made me happy. I love all her fond memories that she talks about. Like, she talks about the bad times and the good times, but she chooses to accept both of those, and I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. I think we should all live by that mindset if we can. So yes, definitely made me happy. All right, so the next prompt is favorite book to film adaptation that you've seen this year. I honestly haven't really seen that many movies this year that are book to movie that I've actually read the book for, I don't think. Other than, like, the only one that's really coming to my mind is The Da Vinci Code, which I ran and watched right after I finished this book. And I didn't actually like that movie that much. It kept out most of the information from this book, and it honestly was just alright. I didn't really like it all that much. So yeah, we're just gonna go with this one because this is the only one that I can remember. Even though I didn't like it that much, it has to be my favorite because it's the only one that I watched, I think. Because I think I've watched a couple like book to movie adaptations, but I haven't read the book, so like I couldn't really tell you how good those movies really are. So we're just gonna have to go with the Da Vinci Code. Okay, so for most beautiful book that I've bought so far this year, it's gonna either have to be this one, The Valley of Amazement by Amy Tan, or let me grab it real quick. Or it's gonna have to be Sula by Toni Morrison, because she's just out here looking like a freaking queen. The whole like thing is like a whole mood. It looks very pretty. Both of these books are just really lovely. I don't know, I enjoyed them a lot. So these are gonna have to be my favorite, most beautiful books that I bought this year because they just look nice in my opinion. Okay, I think we're on the last prompt. Yes, we're on the last prompt. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Or it said book, but we're doing books because I can't make up my mind. So let's do this. I got Letters to the Person I Was. I really want to read this book mostly because I bought it full price from Barnes & Noble. And when I buy books for full price, I really want to read it because they're expensive. So I really want to read this. It's a poetry book. I'm already on page 22, and so far I think it's pretty nice. It also has a pretty cover. It's a nice cover. And then the next book is gonna have to be Beowulf. I mostly want to read this because when I bought this from this local bookstore, the clerk, is it called Clerk? Pretty sure it's Clerk, said that this book was amazing. He was like, this is like one of the best things ever written, and so I'm gonna have to trust that. I'm just gonna have to choose to trust that, and I'm gonna read this, and I better love it, otherwise I'm gonna be very disappointed. The next book I got was, I already mentioned this, literally the prompt before, which is Sula pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I want to read this book really bad because I've never read any book by Toni Morrison before because I'm trash. I think I'm actually the only person in my family that hasn't read a book from Toni Morrison before. So I need to get it together. You know what I'm saying? And then the last book is gonna have to be Flowers in the Attic. I want to read this book because my friend, I trust her very dearly, said that she loved this book when she was younger. She read it, I don't know, I can't remember how old she was, but a lot younger than we are now. And she said she absolutely loved it, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to trust you and I'm gonna read this book. I also bought this book for full price because we were walking through Barnes & Noble, because that's what cool cats do. We walk through bookstores together. It's very fun, enjoyed it. So yeah, I definitely want to read this book this year so that I can either tell her her book taste is trash or be like, recommend me more books, sis, because obviously you have good book taste. All right, you guys, we've come to the end of this beautiful journey. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of these books that I took out back into their alphabetical order. But yeah, I'm very proud of this video, kind of. Honestly, this was trash. You should definitely go check out other people's stuff, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see if I read these books by the end of the year and see if my favorites change. Ooh, that would be exciting. But yeah, hope you have a blessed rest of your day, a blessed rest of your week, and make sure kind of every soul in book pile you may meet. Deuces.